Hey, everybody. Welcome back for a brand new live episode of the Awaken Way podcast. I'm Messenger of Hope, Suzanne Giesemann, and I love doing these live Q&A question and answer sessions because they allow me a chance to tap into my spirit guides to get the highest answers for all of you, and you get to witness how any of us can access spirit, our own inner voice, our own inner guidance, whether you call it your guides, whether it's your loved ones in spirit. It's all joy, it's all God, it's all source, and we can all access it. I've simply trained myself to do that at will, with so much gratitude for my team who is right here ready to answer your questions. But it's too much for me to handle all the questions, so I love each time we do this bringing in one of my beautiful assistants in the earthly realm. And this week I am so pleased to introduce, for the first time as one of my assistants, the beautiful Patty Hart. Hi, Patty.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay. Yeah. You all may recognize Patty, but might not be sure where you've seen her. She is the mother of Lauren, featured in the reading I did and posted online for Patty and her husband, Dave. And it's a YouTube video called Actual Evidence of the Afterlife. Isn't that right, Patty?
Yes.
Yeah, Actual Evidence of the Afterlife. Patty and Dave allowed me to put their reading in its entirety on YouTube for an example of what evidential mediumship is all about. And there you all see the transformation that took place in Dave and Patty's demeanor and their life from connecting with real evidence with their daughter, Lauren. And here's Patty today, now working with us on my team, one of my assistants. She schedules my readings and she's doing a myriad of other things to help us in getting these messages to you. Patty, why don't you just take a minute and share with people what it's like to be here today as a result of all of that?
Oh my gosh. I was talking to Dave about this yesterday. If somebody would have told me 10 and a half months ago that I would be here in this position doing this now, I would have said they were out of their mind. But most of all, that I would feel joy and happiness and hope and gratitude. I never could have imagined it. So it's just amazing. It's been miraculous. Truly.
Yes, it has. And from what I didn't mention is Lauren, just tell us a bit about Lauren and why she's across the veil.
Well, Lauren was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in November of 2019. She battled for 364 days and crossed the veil on November 3rd, 2020. She was an amazing human being. She was the kindest person I've ever known, and she is absolutely here with me all the time, guiding and bringing us so much love still. Amazing.
And I have to brag on Patty that she's one of my best students ever, because she does the Sip of the Divine, that meditation you can find on YouTube as well, Sip of the Divine. And Patty, you just opened up this amazing connection so soon, so quickly with Lauren and even some of Lauren's friends across the veil with evidence.
Yeah, that was amazing. Being able to connect with Lauren, especially because when we first moved here, I felt so disconnected to everything, including her, and to be able to connect and to know without a doubt that she's here and that I can talk to her and she connects with me and communicates. And it's amazing. It's life-changing, really life-changing.
It is. And so affirming for all of us that, as I say, we can all do it because we are all souls. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to get to the questions in just a minute. I just want to share with all of you that I'm just like this today. I don't know if you can feel my energy. First of all, it's from all of you. I was just talking recently with, it was Mike Passacarnis, Wolf's dad, Wolf from my book, Wolf's Message, soon to be the documentary we're going to be sharing with the world, the documentary Wolf's Message. But I was talking with Mike, who is helping to monitor the Wolf's Message Facebook group, which all of you can join. I welcome you to join it and share in the excitement of birthing this documentary. And Mike was so excited. He said, Suzanne, there are people on there from all around the world. They're from Sweden and Norway and Ireland and France and in India. And I said, yeah, that's our community. And here you all are. We can see a lot of you watching us live now in the chat from all over the world. So, Patty, this is your first time to do anything like this.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have thousands of people watching you live right now?
I was trying not to picture that, but it's thrilling. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when we get on this path. You just realize we're all connected to each other. And in this community, it's all about love. And we feel it in the comments you're putting in there right now. I know you feel it from everybody and from us. And even if you aren't joining us live, if you're watching this afterwards, here they are. Ooh. Oh, my guides are saying they are flooding you with this divine energy now. So soak it up as we finally get around to the questions. So I don't know what the questions are. Patty has a few on the side, but mostly she's going to be taking them live. And let's get Spirit involved and take it away.
Yeah, so definitely type in your questions. I'd love to hear some, but I'm going to start with the one that's fairly light. But sweet. It says, can two or more people across the veil hold hands, hug, etc. with each other? And does it have the same feeling as when they are on Earth? Do they have physical contact?
Oh, this is interesting. It's interesting to me because the answer Spirit just gave me is not what I expected. My initial human answer, which will always be the first one, that's a little teaching there, was, oh, they don't really have bodies, and they've told me in readings that what they miss here is the feeling of touch. It's the only thing they miss. But Spirit said it's not the only thing they miss. And we can get in. Okay, so what else do they miss? Because people are going to want to know. The actual sensation of eating food, but they can regenerate the feeling of that kind of thing. So let's get back to the question here. Spirit tells me that the non-physical world, the astral realm where we go next after this one, is as solid to them as ours seems to us, but there's no gravity. They walk through walls. So it's very, they say better than using the word solid, use the word real. That will have more meaning. So yes, they hold hands. Oh, I feel the goosebumps with this one. Yes, you will receive a great big hug from a loved one who you are waiting to hug. They said it that way because there are some people who had a very challenging relationship with some family members, and that's the last thing you'd want to think about. But think about it now. You're going to be meeting soul to soul beyond the story. But if you want to be met by a child who has passed, or a spouse or parent or sibling, and that's going to bring you great pleasure and comfort when you first cross, that's exactly what you will create and will happen. It's all very real. Spirit says what makes the difference is I don't know if did you see that lip twitch, Patty?
Yes.
I can't show you all that. That's going to happen repeatedly when my guides say, we've got this, keep going. What makes the difference is the lack of emotional feeling that you experience in a human body as a result of physical chemicals that arise from our thoughts. So our thoughts cause a cascade of hormones and chemicals that we interpret as feelings and emotions.
Okay.
In the spirit world, our thoughts result in awareness, which is different than feelings. It is all underpinned by love. So there is either more of a surge of love or less. It's a spectrum. And the act of experiencing a spirit hug or experiencing the squeezing of a hand causes vibrations in the spectrum of love that are greater or lesser. Oh, that's kind of deep, but pretty cool.
I love that because when you said that, it made me excited because I know that when I see Lauren again, my instinct, my urge is going to be to hug her. And it makes me excited, and because that's the love, right? Being able to, yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And so you'll feel it as this huge burst of love. Yeah, right now, Patty and I had to get centered before we came online because I'm like this. I've been writing all morning, Patty. Everybody, I'm working on a new book. I already have the contract for Hay House. It's going to come out next year. And it has just flowed this morning from Spirit. And Ty and I had this joke. I turned to him and I said, Ty, I know you don't know this, but I love to write. And he laughs because I say it every time when I really get in the flow. I love to write. So I'm a little high this morning from this total flow and connection. And the guide said, now use that to answer another question.
Okay, this one is interesting. What if you connect, this is from Stephanie. What if you connect with a soul who died, say, 40 years ago, and they have already reincarnated and are living in another physical body again already? Would I talk to them on a soul level or on the phone?
All connections are soul to soul. Your soul weaves, knits stories. You are a story of your soul. Your soul has many stories to tell and experience. When you cross the veil, that story the soul has woven, that is your loved one, is still there, even if another of its creations are in the physical world now. You will communicate face to face, soul to soul, and it will be divine.
I like that. That's awesome.
Nice.
Okay, this one actually has a little something to do with the first one about, whether you're going to hug. My husband passed suddenly June of 2023. We share a bond of love that is deep and powerful and pure. While I understand there is no physical intimacy beyond the veil, I wondered if couples can experience any kind of special intimacy there or have the opportunity to continue their love story together. I am hoping to create new adventures with my beloved, who I miss so much on this side. This is from Carolyn.
Yeah. You will, the guides say you will create whatever activities bring you pleasure. But again, they're emphasizing that it's not necessarily physical pleasure. We take part in physical pleasure for the joy and love it brings us. So across the veil, they say you can experience physical intimacy in the form of sexual relations if you desire, but you will realize that that is not necessary for the level of joy, connection, and love you wish to experience. It is different across the veil, but even more exciting than what you would call a climactic experience here.
I like that. Well put. I like that.
Woo, that sounds exciting.
It does.
Okay.
Okay, this is from Danra Kozensky. This is interesting because I think we all kind of deal with this in our everyday life. She says, hello, I am curious about how Suzanne balances living in two worlds. After mingling with the spirit team and being filled with love and light, I come out of meditation and have to do my taxes, clean up, cat throw up, and do what feels like insignificant nonsense at work. Any suggestions about how to function in both domains?
Oh, this is the spiritual path. It's all about integrating awareness that I am the light of spirit with, like is it the Zen teachers that say, oh, become awake and then chop wood and carry water. It doesn't change the fact that we are also here to live out our human lives with all of the mundane activities that involves. So when you can bring what you experience in meditation, the guide said, you're talking as you, tune into us as well, but it's the same answer. When you can bring into your human awareness what you experience in those expanded states of meditation to your mundane activities, there's a level of peace that takes away the drudgery. When you become aware of, oh boy, I have to do this, this is boring, that's an indicator that you could embody a little more of the soul here, soul awareness, and then turn washing the dishes or picking up the cat litter into just a practice of presence and feeling appreciation for the cat and feeling appreciation for the healthy body that allows you to do these tasks. So you just you work it into your work in a way that brings peace and this underlying foundation of joy they were talking to everything. And then when the stuff really hits the fan and you're miserable, there's so much contrast to this peace that you've brought into washing the dishes and taking out the trash that you say, that piece is still here too. May I embody a bit more of this to help me through this until I get my feet more back on the ground. And the guides say, and that is a phrase that keeps you in human awareness. I need my feet on the ground. They're showing me this image of an integrated person who is, should I share that now? Yeah, this will make this answer a little lengthy, but there's a second verse of my favorite poem by Rumi that says, when the soul lies down in the grass of the field we're all in, sharing the one field of consciousness, when the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too big to even talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other makes no sense. So what Spirit is showing us by bringing all of that up is, hang on a sec. When we sit up in the field of consciousness instead of lying down in it like we do in meditation and just dissolve into this blissful state of being by moments of grace, not all meditations are like that. But instead of lying down in that field, what if we sit up? And part of us is a bit dissolved into the awareness of being the light, and the other part is very solid, sitting up and saying, and here I am as the light, playing this role of Suzanne or state your name. And I want to integrate that awareness and bring more joy into everything I do. That's the spiritual path. It's all about bringing more peace, joy, and light into our everyday moments for our growth.
Wow.
Oh,
good one. Wow. That's, yeah. I mean, balance. It's, there's so much about balance. Here's a question. And I know that Suzanne, you've kind of experienced this recently with the balance of masculine and feminine energy with, so she says, speaking of masculine and feminine energies, how do you know if they are out of balance and how do you bring them back into balance?
Oh, okay. Come on, y'all. You know what it feels like to feel unbalanced. Or that's why we have the expression, or another way of putting it, I'm knocked off balance. We know because it contrasts so much with what we consider normal, what I hope is normal for most people, just going about your day-to-day activities, and how it really contrasts to be off balance with being centered. And centered is the same as balance. You are just really aware that that flow of masculine and feminine energy is flowing at the same rate, the same amplitude. So you notice it by being off balance or off center,
right?
Even a little bit. And the simplest way to get back in balance, y'all won't believe how simple it is. Just close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath and say, hey, Spirit, please balance my energy. You ask higher power to do it. And then visualize feminine energy flowing in from the center of the earth and going up through you, masculine energy flowing down from above and flowing down through you, and Spirit's doing it. You don't have to do anything except be. Sit in peace. There's that sip, sitting in peace, and ask that you be balanced. You will feel a difference. I do this often. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I do too. Okay, so this is something I think that you have answered before, but it's a question that I would have had. 10 months ago. She says, "Hi, Suzanne, my beautiful 24-year-old daughter passed away July 19th, 2024.
Mm.
I can feel her with always, and I feel so blessed. I talk to her, but I can't hear her. Can you tell me what I can do to hear her?"
Patty, why don't you tell her?
Well, Wendy, I started by doing Suzanne's Sip of the Divine, Sit in Peace. It's a 3-minute practice. You sit, you take a breath, you center yourself, and you listen, and you ask, I'd like to hear from my daughter. I'd like to, hear from my guides. And you sit quietly and you listen. And it's a small amount of time. I started with 3 minutes, but it worked. And
Yeah.
so it's really just setting the intention and asking and being open.
Patty, you hit the nail on the head. It's the listening. But as you were saying that, I could hear her saying, but I'm doing that. I'm asking, I'm sitting, and I'm listening. And now I'll tell you, in fact, I just spent 2 full days this week recording the audible version of my new book, Making the Afterlife Connection. It's already available on Amazon for pre-order, but as I was narrating the whole book, I read the chapter where I talk about trying to reach Susan, my stepdaughter, who started me on this journey through her passing, and how I tried, and it took me 3 years to connect with Susan. I already was connecting with other people's children and loved ones in spirit, doing readings for them, but where was Susan? So when Patty Hart here connects with Lauren after trying the Sip of the Divine for a very short period of time, that makes us say, what's going on here? Then I had another mom trying to connect with her daughter across the veil, and she wrote to me this big email, breakthrough, after a year and a half. So look at there. We have a short time, a year and a half, 3 years, and here is the answer from Spirit. Learning to trust timing is one of our tasks that comes from the soul. That is one of the most important things we can learn. Trusting that we are being guided, that everything that we experience is unfolding exactly right for us. Learning that we can't control events and experiences in our lives.
And
when you learn how little control we have and stop fighting it, now you open yourself up to greater flow. So you could say, well, I've tried all that. I've given up. I've surrendered. Do you feel this energy here? So it is a process. And then the second key point, the spirit world goes like this at me. The second key point is your loved ones will stand back if you have things to learn from them not showing up. Patty, your path is not to be a medium. You're sharing your joy and your transformation with the world now. And in that video, it's clear to me you're meant to make that connection for this purpose, to show people what's possible. And then other people, maybe it took that other woman a year and a half because she learned other things along the way. I would have given up my daily meditation if my Susan had shown up right away. It would have been, oh, here's Susan. I'm only going to focus on Susan. But in those 3 years, wow, I opened up to the fact that spirit guides are real, angels are real. This military officer would never have believed that. If Susan had just shown up right away, I would have said, that's it. But spirit guides, angels, talking to mythological characters, and all the other adventures in consciousness I had were the result of my commitment and the daily practice of saying, Susan, reveal yourself to me. So everybody, choose one spirit you want to hear from and just take it into meditation and ask for them. But like Patty said, listen and look. If your loved one doesn't show up, but someone else does, engage them. Like you engaged Mira's daughter, right?
Yeah, Sky's daughter, Mira.
Sky's daughter, Mira. I told that in another story.
Yes.
So it's a process. Be patient with yourselves, and I hope that helped to bring some more understanding.
And I also would suggest, this is something that I did. I had just a little notebook, and even if I just heard one word or two words, I would write it down on the date. And I have gone back and looked at that, and it's so profoundly important during that time. All those things that I wrote down meant something. Looking back now, it's like, oh, you know, even if I didn't fully understand it at the time, I understand it now. So it's commitment, but it's worth it.
Okay, and I don't know why I had asked your daughter Lauren to be here. Oh, okay. There's some double meaning with music in her. She showed me, she dropped in with a piano keyboard and then an accordion. And she's saying, Mom, I know there's got to be some reason, something with the piano or the accordion. And she says, Mom, you just are really good at practicing your scales. And that's what everybody has to do.
Okay, I'm gonna have to think about that one. Creative, that kid.
Yep, for sure. All right.
All right, let's see. This is a little on a different level here. Let's see. Brenda Lee says, I am challenged to fully forgive my mother who crossed in 1990, even though I know she did her best at her level of development. What is belief is holding me back?
The guides say it is not so much a belief, but a pattern of thoughts. They're showing me hamster on a wheel, that the patterns go round and round. If you have truly forgiven, and the greatest understanding we can have is that people hurt each other because of a lack of awareness of who we really are. It sounds like you understand that your mother was coming from a place of that ignorance. Then this is just the monkey mind doing its thing. So the spirit says, call on us, ask to be repatterned. And you can do a meditation to ask to be taken back to that time and change your reaction to it back then. Oh, wow. They say go back with, you can ask for a spirit guide or an animal to protect and go with you back to that time. You don't have to be afraid because these are just patterns of energy. You've already forgiven it. So go back to right after it happened, taking your awareness that you have now, knowing you are safe, that these are simply thought forms, and that your loved one who you have forgiven will go with you. You cannot change the act, but you can change how you responded at the time. Take the awareness and the forgiveness back with you, feel it, and see how your life changed moving forward because you forgave back then in this second parallel reality that you're now adding to the present moment. Wow. So you're repatterning. And then when you get to the present tense, each time, if you notice it's coming up, release it as if filling a balloon with those patterns. Release it, and send it back to the light to be transmuted.
Boy, what freedom. I mean, it just lightness that it gives you to let go of that, you know, to not carry it around, because that's a burden to carry that around.
It is.
Wow.
Let me bring a little lightness into this with a few announcements halfway through. We're going to go another half hour, so don't go away just because I want to share with you some really cool stuff. I wish I could look over at all the chat that's taking place here on the sidebar, but I want to stay focused. But I can feel the love. I see little heart emojis. So thank you all so much for being part of this with us. But let me just share with you some cool stuff going on before we get to the announcements. It's all of you who help share the word. The more people subscribe to the channel, the more YouTube shares it with other people. So if you find this worthwhile and you haven't yet subscribed, please click subscribe right now. And that will help us be messengers of hope, which is the goal. As far as announcements, you can always find out where you can see me next, either online or in person, by going to SuzanneGiesemann.com. That's my homepage there. If you scroll just down past that banner, you'll see featured events. I'm going to put on my glasses here and see what's coming up. Well, this Tuesday night, if you're watching live, is my monthly connection webinar. I'm going to bring myself back on stage for a second here. I have a dear friend where I used to live in Florida, and she has not failed to miss a monthly connection webinar in 7 years. She says it's the one moment each month that reinvigorates her spiritual journey, that reminds her she's not only human, that gives her this sense of community like we're experiencing now with other people who are joined in that moment. I share channeling from my guides, do Q&A like this, but also the latest teaching and evidence from the spirit world. All new kinds of teaching and stories. This Tuesday night, just go to my homepage, again, right under the banner, and here's the link to the monthly connection webinar happening this Tuesday. Ooh, I'm going to share with you a moment that totally freaked out Ty and me this past month. Really scared, as they say, the bejesus out of me. But then, of course, as we pray, may our lessons be as painless as possible. There was an amazing teaching that followed. That's my main headline for this Tuesday. Okay, a couple more announcements here, a few more. What else? Oh, we are already putting the live screening events of the Wolf's Message documentary on my homepage. There's a screening premiere, the first people to see Wolf on the big stage in a movie theater here where I live in Bluffton, South Carolina. We are almost sold out for that one, and it's a month away. But then we'll be taking it to the Villages, Florida for 2 days in the big screen there. And I'll show you the map of the country where else you can see it. It will come online for on-demand viewing May 16th. Until then and after then, Ty and I are taking it on tour. What else? I'll be live in Atlanta for a wonderful Expand Your Inner Mystic conference in June. I'll be live for a weekend at the Omega Institute in New York. That one I've done several years in a row, and it is transformational, the energy that Spirit brings to those events. Let's see. Here's just a little teaser about the Wolf's Message documentary based on my book, Wolf's Message. Let me see. If you go to wolfsmessage.com after this, you can watch the trailer. And let me see. I believe the next slide shows. Yeah, here's where Ty and I will be driving our RV with the movie to share with all of you and discuss it afterwards. So even if you see it online, it's kind of like, why do you go see your favorite singers sing when you could just listen to them on the radio, right?
Right.
Well, because you get to meet in person, and we're going to discuss this and bring that beautiful energy to you live in all these locations. For those of you around the world, thank goodness for the internet. That's where I'll see you.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to let you know, thanks to my wonderful assistants, Jayesh and Meredith, the resources page on my website, you see the menu at the top, resources, has been totally redesigned so that you can find things so much more easily. My books and courses, the Daily Way, messages, our new search for answers feature, videos, podcasts. What else do we have here? My audio recordings with HemiSync binaural beats, learn about the Awaken Way app, my 2 documentaries. What does that say? Meditations, all the poetry Spirit's given me, and fun merchandise like my, where are we? Like my You Are So Very Loved mug that I love so very much. Just a few more, everybody. So check out the resources page, which is really cool. And then under books, I had mentioned Making the Afterlife Connection. The third one here is now available for pre-order. And Mediumship and Awaken Way are 2 that I highly recommend you check out if these questions are speaking to you now. The app is free. Wow, 57,000 people are finding it worthwhile, Patty, checking that out every day. And if you want to be notified about all of these new resources and the gifts and the activities, you'll get a little pop-up at SuzanneGiesemann.com. Fill that out to join my list. Okay. I didn't used to take the time to do those announcements, but this work, I get so many emails from all of you that I have one assistant, Melissa, whose sole task is to read your emails. And I can't look at all of them, but oh my gosh, the love and the gratitude from people that say how this awareness of who you are, all of you as souls, and that we can all learn to connect with our loved ones is life-changing. And so I take the time to share how we can learn more about that.
Yeah.
Let's get back to talking to Spirit and answering your questions live here and now.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question, and I think this is related to why Lauren brought up the piano and the accordion and the scales. This question I was kind of drawn to this morning. What kind of music do the spirits love? Do they become attracted to some kind of music or to our singing?
Oh, the Spirit says it is all about the vibration. And they're talking about music of the spheres. Oh, wow. That just as there are colors in the spirit world that we can't even imagine, there are sounds and music in the spirit world that is more heavenly and ethereal than we can imagine. I'm feeling it. And cool. They say that is how we experience music. We feel it. And you say, well, how can there be music we can't imagine? Well, Native Americans have a 5-note scale, which creates a limited, not so much limited, which creates a whole different experience of music. There's a different sound to it because they're missing certain notes. And we have the 12-note scales with the chromatic scale.
Right.
And they're saying that across the veil, it's very different than that, and heavenly and divine. So as beings of consciousness, we can recreate the music that we enjoy here, but you will feel so much freedom of creation across the veil. You will create new music that will astound even you and uplift you. And is that not what music does?
Yes. Yes. I love that so much because I know that for Lauren, music was huge. It made her happy. She made soundtracks for all of her adventures in life. And many of the kids that have crossed the veil, whose parents I now know, are very involved with music. So it has to be huge. They have to, the spirits, energy, they have to love it. Of course, it's going to be amazing. That's awesome. That
it is. And Patty, as you were talking, Lauren showed me the image of her as a drum major. She put on the high school band uniform and she's acting like a drum major, and she's leading the band.
Oh, good for her. That doesn't surprise me.
No.
Okay, so this is on a different bent. This is RD. My late grandmother visits me in dreams to offer hope, but I also get visited by my great grandmother who warns of negative happenings. How can I manage this connection without fear?
Well, first, change your language. By saying negative, we think that that's bad. There are positive happenings and less than positive happenings, but all part of the wholeness of being human. And if a spirit is going to enough effort, see how they're choosing my language as we go. They said, don't say going to enough trouble, say going to enough effort, because every language, every word carries a vibration, just like negative and not positive. So if a spirit is going to enough effort to get your attention by showing you an experience that feels less than positive, then it behooves you to take action to mitigate the challenges that may arise should that come to eventuality. Wow. Okay. And just realizing that it's just a heads up, a notification that allows you to be prepared for something, whether or not it happens, that takes away the fear. Fear comes from human attachment that things can't change, but life is change. Life is flow. Fear means I'm resisting what is, resisting the flow. If you say, okay, that may or may not happen, I'm aware of this, and anything is possible in human form, and you know that you have help from spirit, then you can flow without fear and listen to guidance that will help you navigate whatever happens with greater ease and definitely with greater peace.
That's huge. Yes. Okay, this one I think it's timely because I think there's a lot going on in the world right now. And so I feel like a lot of people might appreciate an answer to this question. I understand, this is from Carrie. I understand suffering in terms of spiritual growth and that we come here for the full experience. Where I bump is thinking about the intense suffering faced by innocents in war. People who are tortured for years without mercy. I just read about Mazan al-Hamada in Syria. I know nothing is beyond the reach of spirit, but is that kind of intense suffering planned? If everything is about love, why and how does that exist?
Okay, I'm wondering if Carrie is the Carrie I had a conversation with yesterday in an Ulta store. Let's see if she answers back. That
Okay.
would be fun because I gave her my card. You
Oh,
you watch the chat because I can't.
okay.
Let me answer this deep question.
Yeah.
Harry. Okay.
Hmm.
It is not planned, Spirit says. No soul comes here deliberately to commit acts of evil or harm. However, it is known that we play different roles and that there is darkness and light, positive and not positive energy that is part and parcel of this reality. It can be no other way. To seek only lightness is hang on, let me get this more clearly. You seek lightness, for the soul is always within. The soul comes from a reality that already knows wholeness. It comes here for the experience of duality, which is so, in the vernacular, in your face and
Hmm.
painful that you seek to ameliorate it, to lessen the pain. And so you read stories such as the one stated. You experience pain yourself, and the soul within says, how can I bring more light into this world?
Hmm.
Suffering is a consequence of the world of duality. It is not a punishment, it leads to growth. Embrace reality and seek to evolve. There we go.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great answer to a really challenging question that I'm sure a lot of people ask. Thank you. Okay, here's one a little bit lighter because I thought it's kind of cute. During our life review, if we feel the pain and joy we've consciously and unconsciously caused others, are we also going to experience the pain and suffering we've caused to all the spiders and other bugs we've killed? It sounds like a silly question, but they are from the source too, are they not? I fear spiders and have killed a lot of them. Thank you for taking time to answer my question, MJ.
Huh. And I heard you say that, and I said, oh my God, I don't know the answer. See how the left hemisphere of the brain just is always there, quick to try to protect the story and say, I don't know, what do I do? But see, with training, you say, okay, thank you, left brain. We know by tapping into the whole brain and shifting to spirit, we can get an answer. Do we feel the pain and suffering from the spiders and any insects we have killed? You are aware with great awareness that all life is best preserved. You will examine your motivation in stepping on a spider. It comes from the same left brain's propensity to protect the self as the thought that jumped into the head in the moment there. How do I know? The left hemisphere of the brain is part of the physical body that tries to keep you safe. As you come to know that you are always safe and protected at the soul level, no matter what, you will no longer instantly, hang on. You will feel yourself want to step on the spider. You may react with fear, for that programming goes part and parcel with the brain. But with this awareness of the soul now in the forefront, you will pause long enough to let the spider go along its merry way. So they've extended that answer and said that, yes, you will feel that there was a better choice, but it's not a state of remorse. There is regret, but not felt the way, getting back to that question in the first half of the show, not felt with the chemical feeling reaction as human. It's a lower level of love. We want more love. So we forgive ourselves for thinking we were human and following automatically the brain's programming. And we acknowledge that the souls of the spider and any bug or any being we have ever harmed is already whole and complete.
I
Wow.
love it. So I don't know how that was going to get answered, but I like that. That works for me.
Cool.
Okay, this next one is from Indoor Cat. Question: So many spiritual people talk about the ascension. What does Sanaya say about it? Is it real? Can we just focus on love, life, and connection, or do we need to do something to help?
Okay. You will not all lift off at the same time, they say. This is a process of more and more coming to know you are the light of awareness in expression here to shine your light upon all others. This is ascension here and now when you come to this awareness. And they're taking us back to that answer I gave, where how do you integrate this into your day-to-day moments? You maintain soul awareness as you carry water and chop wood, as you do the dishes and take out the cat litter. You maintain that. And the more you do that, that is ascension.
Mm.
And so more people are coming to embody more of the soul, bring in more of the higher self's energy. And so bit by bit, we are all ascending in consciousness. It is not as many think that all souls will suddenly lift out of the body and this reality will end. It is ongoing and eternal, the process of evolution, the guides say.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. I hadn't really thought about that, but I learned something.
I hope so. How are you all enjoying this? I hope you all are learning something. Let me just say, as I always like to emphasize, see, the guides don't let me say stress, different vibration. They always want me to emphasize whatever I share here with you, test it in your soul, in the heart, and just see how it feels. Does it cause you to squirm a little bit? That's a good thing. That's in my book, Making the Afterlife Connection. You know, if you're not causing, and I just wrote it again this morning in the new book, as Reverend Temple Hayes from Unity of Tampa Church told me years ago, Suzanne, if you're not making people squirm, you're not doing your job. Well, Spirit has made me squirm a lot over the years. They have stretched my BS, my belief system, to the limits sometimes, but is it helpful? Is what you're hearing here today helpful? Healing? Will it help your journey? Will it help you find more peace? That's the question, and that's the goal.
Yeah. Well, then here's a question that I think will help everybody, this answer. Could you speak more about the heart center and what it means to drop into the heart space? I only feel the physicality of my chest and ribs.
Okay. All right, everybody, do as I say. I'll try not to touch my microphone as I do this, which is just off camera. Take your hands, take a deep, relaxing breath, and as you exhale, release all tension to relax. Now take these two hands and rest them gently on your heart right here and press in and breathe in. That causes this beautiful rush that we know as love. If you don't feel it, then there's some trauma that needs to be released. You can release your hands now. And you can find, hopefully, a nice energy worker to help you discover what it is that's blocking you from feeling your heart center. But that's your emotional heart center. It's an energy center. It's very real. But there's a center of you that's even deeper, the spiritual core. I talk about this in some of my teaching and some of my past monthly connections. I'm going to get into it on my Caribbean cruise this month because it's so important to know that part of you that's beyond the physical chest and the heart beating, that's beyond the emotional heart that feels gratitude or shuts down from trauma. It is pure being, the core of all of us, where there is no story, where nothing changes. You get to know this in meditation. Patty, have you experienced, if only for a few moments, just being beyond your story?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know that core then.
It just gave me goosebumps when you were talking about it, because it's almost thrilling. It's hard to articulate, actually.
Yes, it is, because there are no words. It's pure
Right.
potential. It's spirit. It's your source, your very center. And that place in you and everybody listening and in me, like this phrase namaste, is the same. I honor the place in you that is of love, of light, of peace, and of truth. When you are in that space in you, and I am in that space in me, we are one as God, as source, as spirit, as the light. Namaste. That's what that means when people go, Namaste. Well, when we talk about dropping into the heart center, you have a choice: physical, spirit, energy, heart center, or universal heart center that simply is. You can't put words to it. And it's from that state that everything arises. It's very challenging to hold awareness for long because now your thoughts pop you back up into the head. Your emotions take you back to the emotional heart, the energetic heart. But once you feel it, like Patty did, like I have, like many of you have, you all feel it moment by moment between every thought. But the thoughts come in so fast, they obliterate that awareness. So that's why we do the sip of the divine. You just got to say something, huh, Patty?
Yeah, well, it's that knowing. So I remember telling somebody this, that, you know, I know that this is real. I know Lauren is here. I know there's more. And they said, well, you don't know. And I said, oh, but I do.
That's right.
When you know, when you've had, it's amazing. It's changes everything.
It does. That's the awakened way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get you to in my book, The Awakened Way, everybody. That knowing. Can you feel Patty's joy? That started with knowing her daughter's right here, but that's what mediumship, and my book Mediumship will also say the same thing. That's what it gets us to. The knowing that we're more than our bodies, the knowing that it's more than just connecting with our loved ones who have passed. It takes us to this awareness that no matter what everybody says, if anybody says, oh, no, that's not real, or no, you don't know that, I know what? The one thing that never changes, everybody repeat after me, I am. Yeah. Everything else is story.
Yeah.
Is spirit expressing itself through experience. You're a story, Patty. I'm a story. Everybody listening and watching is a story. Lauren's a story. Susan's a story. Does that mean they're not divine? Not at all.
No, because we all get caught up in that humanness because we're human too. But it's that knowing that gets you through all that human stuff, right? And the experiences. And it's all perfect. Okay.
Perfect in its imperfection. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Okay. This is an interesting one. Why can't some humans let go of fear? Is it a negative entity attached to us? This is from Belinda.
It's a great question. Let's not use that word negative again. Is it a helpful but less than positive thought form that has attached to me? Those absolutely can happen. I had a less than positive thought form attached to me a couple of weeks ago, and I needed an energy healer to help me release it. Then I had another one that occurred because of my interactions with some less than positive people, 3 in a row in one day. But I had learned so much from the previous really big one that I was able to release it myself using the same tactic and practice we already talked about this hour. Ask for spirit to help you release that thought form. You are a thought form, everybody, okay? A field of energy and information inspired and breathed by the divine. So whatever this thought form is, it may be sentient. It may enter into your field through a magnetic attraction from some dense energy in you that you have not yet cleared. This will help you identify and clear that. So you ask for divine help, angelic assistance to release any thought forms that don't serve you, whether they came in through an interaction with someone else, whether they're your own from trauma earlier in life. You ask spirit to help you release it. Then you do a practice such as we already discussed, picturing a balloon or a cloud in front of you and exhaling all the thoughts that are going through the mind, all the experiences and the feelings into that bubble. And it may appear black at first. You keep exhaling it and releasing that balloon and filling a new one until it's no longer black, it's gray. And you keep going until now it's white and it's cleared. That's what I used, and I was perfectly clear. I didn't need to go find a healer. So some very practical tools this week. And the guide said, address those who are skeptical. My background as a Navy commander caused me to be very skeptical, very left brain. And it brings into our community people who are the same way. A lot of left brain people who consider themselves professionals. And that's a beautiful thing. But if you're not willing to play and be open to new concepts, suffering ensues, the guide said. So try that practice with the intention that it will be helpful in healing. If it's helpful in healing, that's all the proof we need that it's real.
Yeah.
Okay, you have one light one to wrap this up, Patty?
Let me see here.
Enough heavy ones. We're not avoiding less than positive topics, but hey.
I like this one. When you meet someone you feel like you know, but you both cannot find any connection, could that be a soul you had known from a past life?
Oh, absolutely it could. Now, let's expand this to know that at the soul level, we all know each other. We know everybody because we are all coming from that shared core that we spoke of. So that's why in my presentations, I can't wait to do this on the upcoming cruise. I always invite everybody to see each other soul to soul and say, as you look at each other, I see you. It's the most beautiful thing. So when you meet somebody and you just feel this instant resonance, first of all, it's because your energy fields resonate with each other. You have the same vibration as a whole. But it's because you are seeing them soul to soul. Ultimately, like I said, we could say maybe we lived a past life together, but it's because we're all entangled in this one field that we all share. And it's why you all were drawn here today, because you know this at a soul level. It's why you're still listening right now, because your soul is saying, yes, I'm so happy for my human story to get this reminder so more of me can shine on the world.
I want to tell you a little story that relates to that. So I spoke with my aunt and uncle yesterday. My uncle had a heart attack a couple of months ago, but he was saved by two workers who were on a construction site. It was miraculous. Well, they've been trying to get in touch with them, and they finally met them 2 days ago. And my aunt told me yesterday, she said, Patty, I felt like I've known them my whole life. She said, I felt like we were related, but I don't know how to explain that. And I was able to share with her, because your souls are connected, because this was probably all planned so long ago. And it made me so happy when she told me that, because I thought, how wonderful to have that experience and have that feeling for somebody that you don't even know, or that you don't think you know. Pretty cool.
And what's really cool is you knew to say that. You knew the answer.
I learned.
I want any of you who have not watched the video, Actual Evidence of the Afterlife, search for that in my name in YouTube. Go and watch this woman, Patty, and see the person who just answered that question right now, how she was at the beginning of the reading I did to her before her soul was able to peek out from the clouds caused by her daughter's passing. There was nothing wrong with Patty. There is nothing wrong with any of you if you're suffering. It's the clouds obscuring this beautiful light that's within you right now. Yeah. Thank you, Patty. You did a great job. Hey, everybody, didn't she do great for her first time at being MC today? Yay. And thank you all for joining us. We love you all so much. And we'll see you back here next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone.